With players in the game and in the market eagerly awaiting big news from Valve regarding CS2, the market has gone quiet. But the way in which things are lining up, this merely seems like the calm before the storm.
And now for our Counter-Strike report. New York's very own Mike Water.
Welcome back to DE News. I'm your host, Mike Water9. Our numbers in regards to the market cap are still down this week, so we do not have any news regarding that number whatsoever. But one look at the top movers and top losers this week, and we can pretty safely assume that the market has either stayed relatively break even or has gone down a tad. And honestly, right before big news, that's something that you do want. Existing collections that are about to come out, and maybe some money even into new Armory passes to stock up before the new update comes. And that positioning makes even more sense when you understand that Valve banned over 900,000 bot accounts on CS2 over the last week. As we know, and as we spoke about in the video right before this, Valve loves to do this right before economy shifting updates, which rewards the common player for playing for Armory passes in a legitimate manner. So if you do have a lot of stars, hold on tight to those things, because that flip just became that much more profitable, and things are going to look very, very pretty for you in the future. But the long wait and impatience has obviously gotten to the holders of the current Armory collections, as most of them as a sector drifted down over the last week, and more broadly 2.5 weeks. This is obviously a misinformed play. We do know these changes are coming, and we couldn't have predicted Valve not announcing their discontinuations for these, especially when an email surfaced around a year ago regarding Valve's at least initial plans to announce all of their incoming movements to the Armory before actually doing so. Now, while this is an email and not anything public and, official, we can't expect them to follow this to a T, but since it is something that was publicly stated, a lot of people bought into this and are now not buying into the Armory because we haven't received any news regarding discontinuations yet. Last time was 3 weeks. They could technically announce it 24 hours and they still would be abiding by their rules, so we'll just have to wait and see. Now, obviously no one knows what's going out, but if you stay diversified, you'll probably be pretty fine. I wouldn't just be buying anything right now because we are within a 7-day window before April 1st, which was last year's update. So none of your items would be tradable or marketable. If you do want to buy some things, I would probably look into the higher tier, low float, like weird, odd, good pattern skins, because those you should be holding on to after the news anyway. You shouldn't be selling those immediately. So if you are seeing good deals for those, I would buy into those. One specific item that I think is worth keeping a watchful eye on in the Armory is the Fever Case. Now, this is not because I think the Fever Case has any special attributes that I think will benefit it in the future, but rather what Valve does with the Fever Case will probably have a lot of implications on what the case market looks like as a whole after this Armory update. If we don't get a new case to replace Fever within the Armory and cases are just going to be obsolete afterwards, then I think you'll see some very short-term interesting price movement in regards to cases. But if Valve keeps the cases in, on the other hand, then it may not be necessarily something that they're actually having to get rid of at a fast rate, but rather they're inclined to release terminals and things of these sort to kind of just keep supply low and not because of any case scrutiny they're receiving. So a very interesting thing to think about, and we'll have to just wait and see what Valve's future is in regards to cases. Now, this week's Arbitrage play, sponsored by CS2's, is actually really well tuned, because a lot of the items that we're purchasing right now, we can probably realistically expect them to go up over the next 7 days, as we'll probably see the market cap increase pretty handedly with the release of a new update. So anything you buy 15% off right now could probably realistically go up to 18 to 22% if you wait 7 days. But it does carry some risks, right? When Generation 4 gloves came out, obviously a lot of the money within Generation 1 rotated out of 1 and into 4. So if a new AWP skin that comes out that's super beautiful and you buy a bunch of AWP skins in your Arbitrage play, well, then it might not work out as expected. Good thing CS2's has a list in which you can sort by biggest discount, and combined with the movers of the week, which I'll talk about in a moment, you'll be able to make your play very quickly. If you haven't checked it out, check out CS2's. They're a brand new website. Best rates I've ever seen in regards to insta selling, and they'll soon be adding a peer-to-peer feature so that it can compete with some of the biggest marketplaces within the sector. In the broader market, pistols are seeing the bulk of capital move into them this week. Pretty much every top mover is a pistol. The only non-pistol that seems to be moving in a significantly upwards price direction is the AUG. So good thing we bought some of those. Gallery's Lux Trim and Gamma's The Aristocrat seem to be the biggest winners of the week in regards to the AUG. The only outlier is the Mag 7 Justice, which was the number one mover this week, but it is the only Mag 7, so we'll not be looking at the Mag 7 itself, but rather the case Prisma 2, something to keep an eye on, as movements here may suggest movements for its inputs or its outputs. Gloves continue their path towards equilibrium as the new Generation 4 gloves continue to shake up the market. Now, while it seems some of the higher tier gloves like the Hedge Mazes and Pandora's Boxes have found their bottom and have stabilized a little bit, not only because of Generation 4, but the hand wraps and moto gloves, which are notably absent from Generation 4, are receiving a pretty decent amount of capital right now due to them not having a Generation 4 counterpart, I guess leading people to believe that these are no longer going to be produced by way of Valve in this and future glove collections. And these gloves, the hand wraps, Bloodhound, Broken Fang, Hydra, and the original hand wraps, are all working overtime to ensure the older generation gloves continue to have their value and prestige. They're pretty much up across the board and across all different types of hand wraps. Bloodhounds are in the top movers, hand wraps are in the top movers, as well as Broken Fang and Hydra. On the higher end of gloves, and in the most recent news, the ever popular ultra-violent gloves from Generation 4 have been unboxed in a .06007 float, making it the lowest float factory new pair of gloves that we have from Generation 4 and probably will have for a decent amount of time. It was confirmed to be real when it was listed on CS Float recently for a price of 35,000 USD. Now, keep in mind the .06 float cap on the gloves, meaning that a .06007 is equivalent to a 0007 of something that is starting at 0 float. So absurdly low, and it will be very interesting to see if someone actually purchases these gloves at these price, considering these come from a terminal and not a case. Now, beyond the gloves, and even with the gloves and the pistols and the AUG, most of these gains are pretty tame, right? 10 to 30% most of them. Some of them over 40 to 50%, but really concentrated to like 5 to 7 guns. Nothing actually notable this week, which tells us that the big whale capital is in the shadows, waiting for news to drop regarding the imminent update. Generation 1 gloves look like a really good buy right now. I'm very, very eager to buy Hedge Mazes right now, but I am going to personally wait until Armory changes happen. Reason being, I don't think there'll be new gloves in the Armory per se, but I do think that when these things come out, money will rotate from sectors into the Armory, and it might drive down prices of pretty much everything else, at least in the very, very short term, which will make it for a good buying opportunity. And that, I think, will be the absolute bottom for most of the items that have been drifting downwards over the last couple of weeks. We are now going to do the sticker craft of the week. We do have a couple this week because I found a couple that are really good. So without further ado, the first one is from Erico. This is a really cool one. It is on the print stream, unfortunately, but not everyone's perfect. We'll give him a pass for that. He has an I Buy Power sticker on the scope. This is not Cato 14, but it looks to be the case. It's just a scraped Cologne 2014. So if you want something like that, that's a very budget way to do so. It looks to be a perfect ruby charm on that bitch too, and a custom Titan sticker with the red waves from the Elemental Crafts right behind it to give it a background that's not blue. Super sick, makes the print stream not look like a complete garbage gun. Great job, Erico. Now for the M4A1S. Now this is the new M4A1S, the Electrum. And this was submitted by Stab in the Discord. First off, got the swagged out hand sweater gloves, respect. It's very dark, so it makes me believe that he has like a well-worn or battle-scarred M4A1S here. And he has 4X of the Team Spirit, the OG Team Spirit stickers from the Face It London 2018 major. That SDY sticker is very popular. I think it looks great along with all of his teammates on this gun. Super awesome craft. I do think it will benefit if you take that gold die-cast AK charm and put it on that back little stock right here that you hold like that. Also, I wanted to show you boys this M4 I picked up a couple of days ago. It's nothing too crazy, to be honest. It's just an M4 Cyrex Stat Trek, Virtus Pro, Fnatic, LDLC, Cloud9 Cato 15, and then like a bunny. It seems to be bad luck though. I have gone around 3 and 15 in my premier games over the last 2 days. It's been miserable. I've lost about 4,000 ELO, and I really don't have a will to live anymore. This is not a sticker, it is a piece of food, but it was so grotesque, I figured I'd show you guys because I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. This is from FSDA in the Discord. Wow. So here we have some serious gamer fuel. It looks to be alien boogers broccoli, and raw almonds in some type of green paste. Now, personally, I love radioactive goop, so I'm very glad you posted this. Thank you for making me nauseated. I hope they figure out frozen food wherever you're from. Now, speaking of stickers, we are seeing quite a bit of movement within the hollows of Antwerp 2022 Major. This is the very, very beginning stages. I can't believe I noticed this. I got very lucky. I was just looking at the stuff I could sell on CS Float, and I saw that a lot of the Antwerp hollows that I had sitting in my inventory were rising very steadily over the last like 24 hours or so. So keep an eye there. This is the very beginning stages though, so who knows what the price action will be even in 6 hours from now. So keep an eye out on those. I always say to keep an eye out on Austin's because they do have the best fundamentals we've seen in quite a few years because of how Valve handled its discontinuation. So just keep a watchful eye out there on the stickers. In other news, one change that seems to be very promising is the return of DE Cash. CS2's official Twitter account continues to hammer home the fact that cash is coming through by way of stupid, esoteric references and hints. Yesterday, they were seen liking the post of Twitter account, "Is Cash out yet?" with the intention of getting him to post that CS2 liked one of their tweets. As stated in yesterday's video, Valve loves to take vacations in the month of April to Hawaii. It is their annual tradition. So there are two possible scenarios, right? Valve releases it before they go on vacation, such as to shut up the community while they're there. But since everyone will complain because they were on vacation and there were no updates for 2 weeks, they could also release it after to shut everyone up and make them forget as soon as they come back. So 50-50 shot. Let's wait. Let's hope for this week instead. And speaking of shutting people up, Letitia James, bang, bank fraud. She just can't stay out of trouble, this girl. Her past claims of bank fraud and mortgage fraud are being brought up once again against her. Now, last time they dismissed the case, even though she pleaded guilty. So let's see what happens this time. But I do want to thank Letitia James. Thank you for your hard work trying to save the 2,000 Counter-Strike players in the state of New York. Cases are so addicting, I don't even have time to walk outside to the nearest deli, go buy a bong, Pokemon cards, and royal honey, and then come home anymore. I just have no more time. Taking care of what really matters and fostering a principled and virtuous state in the United States. Thank you, Letitia. And even though Valve kind of hit an ill cam on Letitia James, we are going to watch a clip of the week. This one from Linu, Finnish star, on DE Ancient. Now, notably, this gentleman has great crosshair placement. Keep an eye on that. He doesn't go too close to the wall. He keeps it far away enough that way he can actually react in time to people peeking him. Always at head level, calm aim. Great job here. Picks up the guy short, looks long immediately, gets the trade on his teammate. Again, fantastic crosshair placement. Here's the defuse, doesn't panic, doesn't run out so as to reveal his location, gets the final kill, wins the round. Fantastic fucking clip, baby. And with that, we move on to the watch list. Now, last week's watch list was already covered in DE News China 2 days ago, so if you'd like to check out that video, it will be in the DE News playlist or in the top left or right if I remember to do so. And that's because we only had one episode last week, therefore we didn't have two watch lists for each, specific video. Now, feel free to tune in there to see how our calls fared. Now everything pretty much stayed even. The Teknon ossified did move quite a bit, doubling or even tripling in price depending on when you bought it at, making it the highest mover in a week in which everything else was down. Now that is the true test of a keen motherfucking eye, because if you are in the green when the entire market is in the red, that's how you tighten the gap quickly between you and the person right above you. As for this week, I'm going to stay pretty light on my feet. Make sure most of your items are tradable and marketable, because things will rise and things will fall in regards to an imminent update. And definitely do not sell anything from the Armory right now. That'd be very stupid. A lot of these items are down on the week, and there is simply no reason to sell at a loss, especially when we expect prices to come back to where they were a couple weeks ago in the next week. If you do want to buy stuff from the Armory right now because of the price dip, I would suggest looking at rare patterns, high fade percentages for the M4, low floats, because those things, you don't necessarily need them to be tradable and marketable. You want those as long-term plays anyway. Generation 1 gloves, as I said, you could probably wait 3 to 4 days if we do get this update on April 1st. I do think some money from the gloves goes in to the new Armory stuff, right? People are just going to focus on the new shiny thing. And then you might have the absolute bottom on Generation 1 gloves. I will finally get hedge mazes. I will look for more plays throughout the week as time goes on because it's going to be a pretty volatile market this week, and I'll keep you guys up to date. Other than that, that is the news for tonight. I will catch you guys later. As always, peace.